Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Cooper Kupp is on the block, they say. What is your read on that situation? Like the LA Rams, since winning the Super Bowl, have become a garage sale, a flea market, a yard sale. That's what they are. What are your thoughts on Cooper Kupp being dealt?
Well, the yard sale began with Andrew Whitworth retiring after the Super Bowl. A few years later, Aaron Donald retires. They had to get a new receiver in Puka Nacua. He sets a record and now becomes wide receiver one. And who is left out of all this? It's Cooper Kupp, who was wide receiver one when they drafted him out of Eastern Washington. And he hasn't been the same since that Super Bowl year. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that he's on the block. In fact, this Rams team, after, in essence, buying a Super Bowl in 2021, are going to sell off every piece, including 36-year-old Matthew Stafford, and they're going to try to build they're going to try to build this thing, quote unquote, the right way. Problem is, you're already in history as a Super Bowl champion, so there's nowhere to go for the Rams, and we're seeing it, but down.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
As long as I live, I'll remember you coming on my show at Rogers Place in Edmonton at the World Juniors and you being locked out. You made it. You were just sweating like crazy. You were worried that day, I could tell.
I ran like hell because I was going to be late, but speed, like trying to figure out how to get up there was impossible. So, yeah, when I went to the link earlier this year in Edmonton, it was no problem.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a football Friday, and then I'm ready for the weekend. Not why you'd think. We're going to explain why in a second. It is a football Friday here on the Game Plus TV network and WQEE Radio in Atlanta. Hello, Peach State. Big one for you guys this week against the Bucks. Of course, live streaming on YouTube. I'm here in the South Florida studio. Moose is in the rectangle. He's broadcasting football tonight. This is going to be a very quick first segment, or at least only one segment with Moose, because then the CFL on TSN's Jim Barker is going to come in segment 2, as he always does on Fridays. So, Moose, can we just dispense with it and get going with the
Let's go.
Not the proceedings? Okay, Tuna Turner, can you hit the quick six show? Horn, please. Tuna Turner. To our esteemed crew, Clark, you and I tied last night on our NHL breakaway bets. Just so you know, we both tied with 4 correct picks. Want to get that out there? And point one, Moose, I'm going to jump into the Thursday nighter. For those that are watching on YouTube, they might have seen the pre-show, the pre-roll that we do. The Snowman yesterday referred to the LA Rams as frauds. They won 30-20 last night over the Minnesota Vikings. And here's the thing. The Snowman can write a book on, Moose. You don't have to be right. Just be entertaining. That's all you got to do. You don't got to be right. And that's part of what I'm going to say with this game last night. Matthew Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes in the Rams' 30-20 victory at home over the Minnesota Vikings. Demarcus Robinson had 2 touchdown receptions for the Rams. It's the first time this season that the 3 and 4 Rams have won back-to-back games. Minnesota quarterback Sam Darnold, meanwhile, did not blame officials for a missed face mask call when he was sacked for a safety late in the 4th quarter of the game. Instead, Darnold lamented the situation that pinned the Vikings deep in the first place. And also, head coach Sean McVay blasted the media for inaccurate reports about Puka Nacua being on the trading block. So that's a lot going on, Darren, for one game on a Thursday night. It was a beauty, huh?
Well, it really was, and it was a win that the Rams needed. They're getting healthier, and when they're healthy, they're a good football team. You can see that. Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback. They get Kupp and Nacua back, and they're rolling. But, the Vikings, I know it's a bit of a fragile fan base. Is that a good way to put it? They've been through some pain. Now they've lost back-to-back games, and it feels in Minnesota like the wheels are coming off a little bit. I know it's not, but it was a good Thursday nighter to open the week.
I was watching hockey, so it's on me. I didn't watch a snap of it, but I've seen all the coverage today. From the audience, Carlos in Indianapolis writes, and he says, "Happy Football Friday, Rod Squad." David, number 1 in Winnipeg, says, "Happy Football Friday game. Go Jets and Bombers." John Ohm in Winnipeg writes in, he says, Looking good with the Sasky shirt, Rod. It's good for business. As Tommy Cutlets would say of the New York Football Giants, it's good for business. Me wearing Rider gear. Cardinal Ryan's checked in. He says, good day, Rod Squad. Let's go, Yankees. We're getting to that. Hang on. We got the rest of Week 8 in the NFL coming up. We're going to play Deal or No Deal next hour. But I'm moving on. Point 2 of the Quick Six Show topics. The Calgary Flames have their first regulation loss of the NHL season. They dropped a 4-2 decision to Carolina in the Saddledome. Meanwhile, the Winnipeg Jets remain unbeaten after a 4-3 victory over Seattle. Nikolai Ehlers scored in overtime to put the Jets at 7-0. First time in franchise history. The St. Louis Blues dumped Toronto 5-1. Clark and I both had that one wrong. And a milestone win for Florida goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky. He made 24 saves for the Florida Panthers in their 3-1 win over the Rangers in New York. It's his 400th career win. He's the fastest goalie to do it in NHL history, and the first Ruski, can I say that? First Russian, we're in North America, I can say that. First Ruski to do it, to hit a 400 career win. So those were some of the takeaways from Thursday night in the NHL. What were yours?
Yeah, and that's a big one. I was seeing, the stuff around Bob, and he's earned it. He's played at a high level everywhere he's gone. Now he's at his best in Florida, which you love to see. He's fresh off a cup and still going. So good to see him get the 400th win. Not a good night for Toronto. They've now lost back-to-back games, and it's slightly concerning the way, not just losing the back-to-back games, but the way that they've lost them. And I know early on, I can't remember who tweeted it, but it might have been David Alter, but he was, Oilers offer sheeted players too, the Leafs nothing. Broberg and Holloway are paying dividends with the St. Louis Blues early, and I know Oiler fans are watching that thinking, man, it would sure be nice to have them in orange and blue in Edmonton, but that's not the case.
You're paying all your money to Neon Leon and Connor, so what did you think was going to happen? You're welcome. But we're entering, they are who we thought they were territory for all these. It was only 2 weeks. Why did people get, you know what I mean? It was chaos for 2 weeks, but now the sediment is filtering to the bottom. The cream's rising to the top. They are who we thought they were. In a lot of cases, you can figure out who I'm talking about. Hour 1 of the RP show is brought to you by Culligan. Drink clean, live green. Filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. It is a Football Friday, but here on the opening segment, it's only been 1,364 shows. You should know by now that we go through the top sports topics of the day. The point 3, 2 big market, big spending teams are set to meet in the World Series. Game 1 tonight, the LA Dodgers entertaining the New York Yankees in the opener. The Dodgers beat the Mets to win the NL pennant. The Yankees top Cleveland to win the American League crown. We'll have a few other updates or previews of the series in our sports updates today. It's the 12th time the Dodgers and Yankees have met, and that is our poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Who are you cheering for in the World Series? We established this yesterday. I'm cheering for the Yankees. Darren's cheering for the Dodgers. Brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ's Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information, emjmarketing.com. We put a third option in there, Yankees, Dodgers, and the third, this was Clark's idea, can they both lose? That's leading the way, Darren. Option C, can they both lose, is leading the way. The text line is brought to you by Elaterra Skincare. Elaterra, as sports fans, there's nothing we love more than a comeback. In the game against wrinkles, scars, and acne, it's never too late to revitalize your skin with Elaterra Naturals. Check them out at elaterra.com and use promo code RP20 for 20% off. Delving into the CFL. We got it's just like every league's the same. You got the races at the top, and then you got the races at the bottom. And they're pretty interesting, too. So Friday Night Football tonight, Hamilton at Ottawa. The Red Blacks are winless in 5. They're going to the playoffs. Hamilton is not. Ottawa's got to win tonight. Toronto at Edmonton, friends and family game. The only people that care are friends and family of the players. I have to throw this out to you. I was reading some coverage of this game tonight. Toronto Argonauts at the Edmonton Elcamos. A rematch of the 1996 Grey Cup. Trey Ford's future is in question with Edmonton. I don't know if that's reached your radar or not, but I was reading the online coverage from the Canadian press. Trey Ford's contract is up at the end of this season, and he's non-committal whether he's going to go back to Edmonton. I'll just put this out there, and we'll ask Jim Barker about it next segment, but I want yours as the champion of Canadian football and Canadian players that you are. Could you blame him if he didn't want to go back to Edmonton? That was the first thing I thought when I read that story, that he's non-committal to re-signing after this season.
Yeah, I think that's a great first reaction. What did you think was going to happen? If you're not going to commit to him as your quarterback down the stretch in a season that means nothing, why would he commit to you long term? Now, he needs to evaluate whether this is the best situation for him or not, and needs to go to the best situation, because when you look around the league, you go to somewhere like BC and they're set at quarterback. Depending on who they choose, they've got a number one. Saskatchewan's got a number one. Winnipeg's got a number one. Do you want to go play behind Zach and be the next guy? All these teams have number one quarterbacks or have young players. So you got to figure out what situation is going to give you the best chance to play. It might end up being Edmonton, but you cannot blame Trey Ford for being non-committal at this point.
Listen, we're in an era where, and I am dying to get Jim Barker's take on this next segment, the players more than ever realize they are their own corporation. What did I say earlier? It's good for business. It's good for the riders. It's good for me to wear rider gear. So let's get on with it. Trey Ford, why would he not go see what's on the open market? He doesn't owe anybody anything. I think about in Winnipeg, Mark Scheifele. We were all taken aback at the end 2 seasons ago, at the end of the season 2 years ago, when he goes, I'll evaluate whether this is a good situation for me in Winnipeg or not. I'll decide if I'm going to sign long term. We're all like, said no one ever. It's the way it is now. That's the way it is now. For Trey Ford, what's best for him, Darren? It's to go to open market and see what else is out there. Not to mention the house of horrors the Edmonton Elkamos have been ever since he got there.
I know. It's true. And I look down the road in Calgary, there's an unstable quarterback situation too. PJ Walker's not going to play, but maybe he has an opportunity to be the next guy. They're not really that confident in Jake Mayer right now. Maybe Trey Ford could go down there. Another domino that needs to fall is what happens with the BC Lions quarterback situations. Does Vernon Adams go somewhere? Where does he land? Or is it Nathan Rourke that ends up somewhere else? That's got to happen first. What does Hamilton do with Bo? There's a lot of things that need to happen here before Trey Ford can evaluate and say, that looks like a pretty good spot for me. So patience will be key in this situation.
Isn't it something? We're talking about the 2 worst teams in the league, Edmonton and Calgary, on the cusp of the last weekend of the regular season and then playoffs. We're talking about the Elkamos and the Stampeders. Scott in Toronto writes in, he says, Edmonton has been non-committal to Trey Ford for 2 years. So, again, could you blame him for being non-committal? Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, who will win the sweepstakes and get signed as the next Stampeders quarterback? It's like they slipped this in there like it's not a big deal. PJ Walker isn't playing this weekend. You just said it, in Calgary, because he wants to keep his U.S. college, U.S. pro options open. Think about 20 years ago. We'd like you to start this week, kid. Oh, thanks, coach. You didn't even thinking about anything else, but not anymore. What's best for me? That's how this business has changed. It happened without anybody even noticing. Shy writes in. I don't know if it's Shy Davidi or not. Shy is the name. Says Edmonton has a bunch of... he says, good morning, Rod and Moose. Love the shirt, Rod. Another from Scott in Toronto. He says, Trey has all of the skills at extreme levels. He just needs a team to invest in developing him. Something Edmonton has wasted. Well, again, we feel like there's more to the story than we know. That's what I hear from my Edmonton people, but that's what we have insiders for that make all the money. I'm not going to go stir it all up and piss everybody off. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it, Darren. It wouldn't be prudent. Carlos in Indianapolis says, loyalty is dead. They took loyalty to the train station in sport. Hey, before we break, and again, Jim Barker's coming in next, can you give a Canada West football, and if you want, OUA update? That's what you're going to be doing this weekend before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks. It's going to be an exciting weekend, and everything matters right now, which is great. Everybody's still alive for the playoffs. So the short story is Regina, Alberta tonight. I'll be on the call. Rams win and they're in. Alberta wins and they're in if Calgary loses tomorrow afternoon. They play the Huskies, and then over UBC Manitoba will play. First place is kind of on the line. Manitoba has a little bit of a cushion because they own the tiebreaker. And out in the OUA, they're into quarterfinals in their OUA playoffs already. So McMaster will be on the field against Western. Laurier's got the bye. So they're into the playoffs out in the OUA this weekend, starting tomorrow.
Utah Darren writes in and he says, which CFL teams are the most stable at the quarterback position for next year? Can we pump the brakes? I started this. I know it's my fault, but we're going into the final weekend of the regular season and then the playoffs. Let's save that for December. Okay? John in Edmonton writes in and he says, Rod and crew, it's weird in Edmonton. An Oilers game at 7 p.m. tonight and the Elks game at 7:30 p.m. Why would they schedule it like that? Do you want an answer, John? I don't know. You're a big city. This happens in big cities all the time. It just happened in Winnipeg a couple weeks ago. Deal with it. We're going to pause, Moose, and bring in Jim Barker. We'll see you next hour. We got NFL Deal or No Deal coming up. Our NHL breakaway, what do we call it? Breakaway bets. Yes, he out. He gone. Nice work, guys. Coach Barker in next. It's a Football Friday. We're live on Game Plus Television. Get your questions in for Coach Barker. WQEE, also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Sports fans, join the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpedersen.com. And on the Alaterra skin care text line, Kirk in Toronto writes in regarding me wearing a Riders shirt today. He says, "Hey, Rod, you would look better in your favorite color, double blue. Go Boatman." Don't worry, I asked Hoagie for some Argos gear. He said, "Go buy it," which is probably what I would say, too. Yeah, I would say that, too. So I wasn't offended. I'm also not about to go buy Argos gear. So there you go. Let's bring in Coach Barker. Coach, as we head into the final weekend of the regular season in the CFL, my most broad question for you is, what are you expecting to go down doubleheaders tonight and tomorrow?
Well, tonight's, the Toronto game, the late one, really means nothing for Toronto. They're going to play Ottawa next week. I think Ottawa's game means a little bit more because they're playing so crummy right now, and you don't want to go into the to the playoffs just off of 6 losses, and I mean they're bad. I mean, even though they came back and made the score decent, they scored 25 in the fourth quarter to make the score somewhat close last week against Toronto. So they need to just get themselves together, get Drew Brown on the same page. Now, Justin Hardy's not playing tonight. They're sitting him out. Toronto's sitting out a lot of their team. I mean, if it was me, I'd sit out everybody that I could afford. When you sit out players, it affects your salary cap. So where they are on the cap will determine a lot of who they're able to sit out. But we've talked about this, Rod. You win in the playoffs in the Canadian Football League physically, and that takes a toll on you. They're going to have 3 physical football games that whichever team, Ottawa or Toronto, whichever team wins that first game, they're going to have 2 more. They're going to go to Montreal, and it's going to be a physical football game. And then they're going to go into the Grey Cup. Same thing. So, again, I think that those kind of games make this game tonight, like for Toronto, I'm not shocked at all that Chad Kelly's not playing. When you think about it, they played Ottawa last week. So they had that whole game. That's the film they're watching, is the game they're going to play in the playoffs, the same team. So they'll just take that. Don't mess around with anything that has to do with Edmonton. The game means 0. In the overall scheme of things, all that matters, you win a Grey Cup or you don't. And that's ultimately what it is. So I don't think they have one thing to gain by playing in Edmonton and have the whole travel thing. They'll play on Saturday next week. Remember, they moved all the playoff games up to Saturdays this week. So keeping as many guys out as they can is a smart move by Toronto. Ottawa, on the other hand, again, they've got a Hamilton Tiger Cat team that wants to show the world. You got this Ottawa team going that has no business, and my bet is they're going to try to win by 30 if they can. Now, again, I think Ottawa's got to play better and got to get themselves together for the playoffs. But that game is interesting because of Ottawa being so bad right now and not wanting to go into the playoffs, have to come into Toronto and play an Argonaut team that's playing as well as anybody. If you look at last year, basically the Argos are last year's Montreal. They start out and they're 500, and now they catch fire the second half of the season, kind of like what Montreal did when they went on their tear. So that's what the games tonight are about. tomorrow's completely different situation. I mean, if Winnipeg goes into Montreal and wins that first game, that second game is going to be huge. Now, I think Saskatchewan's they're trying to establish themselves as a physically dominating football team because they have to in order to beat Winnipeg. And whether it's beat them in the finals or beat BC to get to them in the finals, eventually they have to do that. And that's the way they played last week. They played physical. And I think that that's going to be their mantra again this week is play physical. Now, how long Trevor Harris plays all depends on what happens in Winnipeg. Winnipeg loses that game to Montreal. And for Montreal, they're kind of limping into this. And they have a bye next week because they earned it. But for them, they're limping into the playoffs this year. Very unlike what they did in the past. Cody's struggled. I mean, they scored 3 points last week. I know he's your son, but he has struggled lately, and they need to get themselves going. So I think they're going to put out an effort. Winnipeg, this is huge for them to have that bye and have one game to go to the Grey Cup is everything. So tomorrow's games way more interesting. That's the day that's the ones I'm working. I don't work tonight. But tomorrow's games, based on what happens now, should Montreal beat Winnipeg, then the nightcap is Saskatchewan, keeping people healthy, still trying to establish themselves physically and get their team playing well because they need to do that this time of the year, especially the way BC played last week. Who they play? One of these teams is going to play BC next week in the semifinals. It's kind of intriguing.
It's all intriguing. John in Edmonton wants to know, when do you take a breath? I was timing that. That was 4.5 minutes. I wanted to see how long.
You put me on this. You put me on the clock, so I've got to get everything in. I've got all these thoughts. This is what I do. I think about this stuff, and okay, what am I going to talk to Rod about? And then I want to get it all out, so I got to go fast.
I know. No, it's good. I was just letting you go. Do you have notes in front of you, or do you have it all up here? Tell me.
I have it all right here.
Okay, good. By the way,
actually, I just got back from my reunion, so I was down there last week.
I was going to ask you. I was going there
Fantastic.
next. How was L.A.?
It was great.
Okay, tell me about it. Oh,
it was great. It was just, you go down and went to my old high school. We went to a football game and, just, again, getting a chance to touch base with people you haven't seen in 50 years. And, it was a load of fun. And, we'll just wait for the next 50 year and see what happens.
What was the high school?
Arcadia High School. Clay Matthews was he was there. He looks like he could play tomorrow. We had some guys who went on and played. Dave Hostetler played for the Texas Rangers. No hockey players, but we had some Major League Baseball players, and like I say, Clay played in the NFL, and Debbie Turner from The Sound of Music, Marta, she was in our class. So yeah, it's just outside of Los Angeles, about 30 miles east of Los Angeles.
Gotcha. Okay, well, hey, if he's to be believed, Gary Echeverry told me that he and Omar Morgan went to the same high school, Hollywood High School, but that's a story for another time. That's from Etch. I can't believe that story. Okay, well, there you go. Then, okay, well, that not surprise me that you would know. You guys knew each other back then, didn't you?
Yeah, I brought him up to the league when I was in Toronto, and we went to USC together. And so when we had an opening for a D-line coach, I knew Etch, and we had worked together at Occidental College in Southern California. So I recommended him to Don, and Don brought him up and loved him. He became the defensive line coach for us then, and so I've known Etch since way back when.
A beauty, a real beauty. Okay, I guarantee you did not have in your notes talking about Gary Echeverry today, but I think you might have seen Us talking last segment about Trey Ford, non-committal to re-signing in Edmonton in the offseason. What's your take on that situation?
Well, I don't think he's non-committal. I think if Edmonton wants to pony up, he's be happy to sign there. The problem is that for Edmonton, they need to get their president signed so that then they can figure out what they're doing with the GM and the head coach. He's not going to go commit somewhere where he doesn't know who's going to be there. You know, people don't realize a big part of being in the front office of the CFL is recruiting. I mean, it reminds me a lot when I was in my, formative years coaching in the States, recruiting college football down there. It's no different. You're trying to recruit. When I was in Calgary, I'd use, come here instead of going to Toronto because you're going to pay a lot less in taxes because of the, the oil and gas. And you're basically recruiting free agents. You're recruiting guys who are in the States who don't have any idea what the CFL is. So a big part of being in the front office is having people with the personalities that are able to recruit the kind of guys that you want and be able to recruit free agents. Here's what's going to happen with Trey Ford. Trey Ford, somebody's going to make a decision. Now, we don't know that, Calgary went and got P.J. Walker. But we don't know that Dave Dickinson and John Huffnagel haven't said, we're going to go get Trey Ford. So don't, and they've already talked to, Fred Weinrich, his agent, and they're all set. And, they'll just play it because, you technically can't do that. But that's the way it works. But there's somebody who may have already said, listen, this is what we're going to pay you. And the reason you don't want to say it comes down to money, but money is a commitment. For example, Vernon Adams, he's going to have, I believe, January 15th, usually, is a roster bonus payment, probably about $150,000, $200,000. So they're going to have to do something with him prior to that. The other interesting thing about Vernon is his contract is guaranteed, meaning his last year of his contract, which I don't believe is next year, but the year after, half of his contract is guaranteed. So whoever takes him on picks up that guaranteed contract. So they're basically on the hook for that also, which, again, somebody who's going to go after Vernon Adams, they're going after him to be their starter. So if that's the direction they go, I think with Nathan Rourke, that contract's going to be difficult to move. He's $800,000, and so much of it is in. I think 200 of it is in promotional money. Well, some places you can't give a guy that much money. They don't have that much promotional money. So, he may not be a market, because say VA comes out, lights it up, and BC wins the Grey Cup, and he's the MOP of everything. I just don't see them getting rid of him. I just don't.
They can't.
I think it showed.
Yeah.
It showed in the way their football team played with VA under center that team wanted VA under center. Nothing against Nathan, but he's the guy who had brought him there the first half of the season.
How big is this game, or this next 3 games for Trevor Harris? Expiring contract, aged quarterback. How big is it for him to get it done?
Oh, I think it's for Trevor. You always want to be the guy he's won Grey Cups, but he's never been the guy who was the quarterback that took him all the way. He was behind Henry in Ottawa. He was behind Ricky with us in Toronto. I think for Trevor personally, it's huge for him to go. And ultimately, quarterbacks to me are evaluated and graded on Grey Cups and how many do you win. So I think for Trevor, these games are huge. I think he loves Saskatchewan. I think he's a good fit there. But like you say, he's 38 years old. Now, they don't have, I like Shea Pedersen, but I don't think he's the heir apparent. They've got some real good young players. Shoot, I think Logan Ferland's got a great chance to win Outstanding Lineman Awards. He's been so valuable for Saskatchewan. They've got some good young pieces. They'll get Yoshi, they'll get Hardrick back next year. So their offensive line will be better coming in. But they've kind of established themselves. I think Trevor would love to be able to go into that situation that he knows and still have the job. if they go one and done, he may be done. I mean, you look at it as, okay, he's 38 years old. How many opportunities do you get? But if he gets close and he plays well and does the things I think he's going to do, I think he's going to rise to the level he needs to, that's going to set him apart as an elite quarterback. Because now is when you become elite quarterbacks, is in the playoffs. Chad Kelly, he's got huge pressure on him because of what happened in last year's Eastern Final. So he's got to play great in the semi, but he's also got to play great in the Eastern Final. Everybody forgets what he did in the Grey Cup. But it's what do you do in these games that determine what you are. Zach Collaros is a first ballot Hall of Famer because of what he's done this time of the year for the last 4 years. They win today, tomorrow, if Winnipeg wins, they're going to go, I believe it's 5 in a row, they're going to have won the division. That's Zach Collaros. So playing well this time of year separates the good quarterbacks from the great quarterbacks. And again, VA, the same thing. Same type of thing. Cody Fajardo. Last year, he got that off his back. He won the Grey Cup in heroic fashion. That throw he made will go down as one of the great throws in Grey Cup history. So whatever you want to say about Cody Fajardo, he's done something a lot of quarterbacks never get an opportunity to do, and that's win a Grey Cup. Take a team down, you're behind, and win a Grey Cup. Cody's done that now. So that pressure's off of him. Again, and then you look at Drew Brown. What's Drew Brown going to be? Is he going to be that guy who in the playoffs his game's going to elevate? So that's what you watch in this. To me, this is quarterback time. Yeah, we have to be able to run the ball, and it's physical, and you need to do that stuff. But it's don't make mistakes and do things that'll give your team, make enough big plays that if your team gets behind, shoot, if it's just don't turn the ball over and your defense plays great and you get a couple of turnovers and easy scores, great. That's what you have to do to win. But if your team gets behind, you have to be good enough to be able to bring that team back. And some guys in this league aren't, and some are, some aren't. And this is the time that we can make that decision, Rod.
Matt Dominguez said it. Regular season makes all-stars. Playoffs make legends. We're not out of time. We're way past time. So, Coach, thanks for this. Enjoy the games tonight and break a leg tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Rod.
Great job from the CFL on TSN's Jim Barker. We'll be right back with a sports update after this. Viewer takeover on the way. We're live on the Game Plus television network. WQEE Radio down there in Atlanta. Live streaming on YouTube and, of course, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio, Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, everybody, please support our generous sponsors and keep us in business. Culligan Water of Regina is one of them. Clear water, clear choice. Filter out the bad and taste the good. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit culliganregina.com. You got water in the workplace, maybe at home. If it's not Culligan, switch it to Culligan. Everybody's happy. The poll question that we do for EMJ Marketing every day. Today's question is this. Who are you cheering for in this World Series? Interesting results so far. Your options, of course, Yankees, Dodgers, and we've added a third option. Can they both lose? 43% of you saying, can they both lose? That's leading. 35% voting for the Dodgers and 22% for the hated New York Yankees. I don't know what it is. Again, here's me, the fish swimming upstream against the grain. I'm cheering for the Yankees. Not that I love them more than the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays, they ain't here. So that's my playoff team, the New York Yankees. I don't hate them. Just the way people are. Now is the time to get your questions and comments in, by the way. 902-518-3033 till the top of the hour. And frankly, on whatever you want. There will be a lot of NFL talk in hour 2, just so you all know. NFL's Week 8 is at hand, and we'll be playing Deal or No Deal with Moose, where I've got the betting lines here. We got some whopping point spreads in Week 8 for the NFL. Darren decides whether he wants to take the bet or not, and I do the same. I really enjoy the NHL breakaway bets that we do every night. If you were listening, Clark, I don't know if you were or not, you and I tied. Just so you know, you and I tied last night.
How about
but
that?
We both sucked. 4 right, 5 wrong. Both of us last night in the NHL. It's been pretty hard to predict so far this season. Deal or no deal. So while I await you getting your questions and comments in, again, at 902-518-3033, the Alaterra Skincare text line. Here is the sports update on this Friday. The Los Angeles Dodgers host the New York Yankees in Game 1 of the World Series tonight. It's the first time in 43 years that the two iconic franchises have met in baseball's Fall Classic. Jack Flaherty will take the mound for the Dodgers, while Garrett Cole gets the start for the Yankees. NHL, Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers welcome Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins in one of 4 games on tap in the NHL tonight. The Oilers are off to an uneven start to the season with just 2 wins in 7 games. Also tonight, the Ottawa Senators look for their 3rd straight victory as they visit the Vegas Golden Knights. And the Toronto Raptors look to rebound from Wednesday's opening night loss to Cleveland when they host the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. Sixers star center Joel Embiid is nursing a knee injury and is expected to miss a 2nd straight game. Toronto point guard Emmanuel Quickley is listed as doubtful with a pelvic contusion. The sports update is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Joker Folie à Deux. From acclaimed writer-director Todd Phillips comes Joker Folie à Deux, the much-anticipated follow-up to 2019's Academy Award-winning Joker, which earned more than $1 billion at the global box office and remains the highest-grossing R-rated film of all time. In Landmark Cinemas now, Joker. This will not be a weekend that I'm going to the movies. I don't think. The weekend is filling up far quicker than I thought that it would. There's some comments on the YouTube chat. Got too many windows open here. 902-518-3033. They're debating back and forth here. Jeff the Stamps fan, the guy Shy that we've been recording to earlier. It is a Football Friday. I am wearing a Rider shirt, so it is a really big game Saturday. Saskatchewan goes after 5th straight victory. So whether or not Winnipeg wins in Montreal, I think we all think Winnipeg will go into Montreal and win because they need to finish first. As Jim Barker very eloquently said last segment, Riders are trying to prove something. They were winless in 7 before rattling off this current 4-game win streak. They want to keep that momentum going. But bigger than that is the quarterback Trevor Harris, who, quite frankly, I'm a really big fan of. And I'll say it again. I won't say it a lot, but I'm wearing the Riders shirt largely because it's good for business. Yeah. You don't be a lifelong fan of a team and then just stop. I want Trevor Harris to do well. I want the Rough Riders to do well. And I'd like for him to win a Grey Cup. And Corey Mason, Mark Mueller, and these guys. Jeremy O'Day has done an outstanding job as the general manager. To be honest, he saved the season. Nobody's talking about that. In a must-win game, they went into Calgary. And when they didn't have a running back, they signed the trouble child out of Ottawa, Rock Armstead, and he rattles off 207 yards in the game, basically won them the game, knocked Calgary out of the playoffs, and cinched a playoff spot for Sask. Nobody's talking about that. So Trevor Harris needs to probably get to a Grey Cup and win it to cement not only his legacy, but also a return to Saskatchewan in 2025, which I think he would like. Because, to be honest, he's the highest-paid Rough Rider of all time. Speaking of things nobody talked about. That ain't going to be the case if he does in these playoffs. And as Jim Barker said, he has taken teams to the Grey Cup. He's never won the Grey Cup as a starter. That's a lot of what's riding on the line for Sask that I would say nobody's talking about, but there just isn't as much talk about it like there used to be, and that's too bad. That is too bad. 902-518-3033. I want to talk about what's going on. Well, listen, talk about what's going on this weekend when we come back. We'll take a break and come back with all viewer takeover. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, live streaming on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, where the CFL fans at? If we don't get some CFL comments in here, we're going to be switching to all NFL next hour, plus our NHL breakaway bets. Folks, is your skincare starting rotation giving up big hits to wrinkles, age, spots, and acne scars? Revitalize your self-care roster with Alaterra's all-natural lineup of nourishing products. Visit Alaterra.com. Use the promo code RP20 for 20% discount off your order. We do have some of the usual CFL fans here. Utah Darren writes in and says, is Trevor Harris the Jim Kelly of the CFL? Yeah, you could say that, or the Marino. Let's wait to see how these playoffs play out, but this is the guy that's bounced around a lot of CFL teams, has never led one team to a championship, has taken teams to the championship, but not won it. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Jim Kelly's in the Hall of Fame. Dan Marino's in the Hall of Fame. The NFL, CFL, kind of apples and oranges in that regard. I think Trevor Harris is going. I don't know how they run it anymore. He's in the top 20 all times for yardage. That's saying something, but you do kind of got to win. Kevin Glenn ain't in the Hall of Fame. He's got more passing yards than Trevor Harris. John Ohm says the Rough Riders need to win to save Jeremy O'Day and Craig Reynolds' job, in my opinion. John Ohm. What don't you get? They're not being fired. If they weren't fired after a year where they missed the playoffs when they were hosting the Grey Cup and then missing the playoffs again the next year with 6 wins, they're not being fired. But you ain't listening. So let's go about our day. They're not being fired no matter what. Read my lip. Scott in Toronto writes in and says, CFL chat, I'm here for it. Well, that's good as long as you don't bring up expansion. Because I know you like to talk about it, Scott. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he goes, ever since Alaterra appeared on this show, they've been all over my feeds. Funny how that worked. Yours too? Thought it was just me. To the point that I think I'm going to have to start ordering this stuff. Alaterra skincare. My little thing about talking about the NBA, searching the NBA, has not resulted in getting any more NBA coverage on my social media. That didn't work out. Utah Darren says, Dan Marino only played in one Super Bowl his rookie year. One of the tragedies of the NFL. I could just tell you a million Dan Marino stories just that I've heard from around here in South Florida. Oh, he still lives here. Still a much well-known figure. Much loved? Maybe not. Still well-known, though. Very well-known. No, again, Trevor Harris only played in one Grey Cup, too. Or one championship, too. Didn't win it. Scott in Toronto says that 2018 Grey Cup. I was there, by the way. Calgary versus Ottawa, Commonwealth Stadium. Calgary could have been had for the third year in a row. Ottawa lost that game through turnovers. They also had a tough time, I felt, with the footing on the ice-covered tundra at Commonwealth Stadium, which, by the way, is why I don't like to go down the expansion road at all, because I was in the room at the Shaw Convention Center in Edmonton when the owners of the Halifax whatevers stood on a stage with Randy Ambrosie and were welcomed to the CFL. 6 years later, still not playing. Huh? Fool me once, bro. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the CFL needs to come out with this year's free agent list soon. Yeah, see, that's the fans of the teams that aren't going to the playoffs. That's all they care about is their own. That's fans. I totally get it. NFL deal or no deal next hour. Breakaway bets in the NHL, and you with the Moose coming up right after this brief pause.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
As long as I live, I'll remember you coming on my show at Rogers Place in Edmonton at the World Juniors and you being locked out. You made it. You were just sweating like crazy. You were worried that day, I could tell.
I ran like hell because I was going to be late, but speed, like trying to figure out how to get up there was impossible. So, yeah, when I went to the link earlier this year in Edmonton, it was no problem.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show's Hour 2. This is going to be a bit of a yard sale, too, I think. I don't fear it. I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm here in the South Florida studio where they have just decided to blast the air conditioning. Hi, Moose.
Perfect.
He is in the rectangle. Yeah, that's why I'm glad I put on this Rough Riders pullover. When I go outside, I'll be sweating like a hooker in church. But inside, I'm warm and all bundled up inside of the AC. Yeah, we got questions coming in here. The fans, the viewers have rallied. Darren, a little late. I said it about 20 to the hour. I said, where's the CFL fans at? They've all rallied here now. So we got some topics that we're going to get to with them from the viewers. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQE Radio in Atlanta, where the Falcons are playing a real big one at Tampa Bay this Sunday. Our NFL Deal or No Deals coming up, plus our NHL breakaway bets. Darren's in Saskatchewan, where he's going to be broadcasting university football this weekend. I want to tell you about my weekend. I'm ready for it, and here's why. I've just had these numbers pumped into my cranium all week. It's my own fault. I'm talking hockey, football, baseball, stats, just numbers. Our Instagram poll that I put up on our Instagram page, please go follow it if you don't already, everybody, at The Rod Pedersen Show. Said, who's going to win the World Series? 77% think the Dodgers will win. But our overall poll for EMJ Marketing here on the RP Show is, who are you cheering for today? Who are you cheering for? I'm cheering for the Yankees. Moose is cheering for the Dodgers. Leading the poll is option C. Can both teams lose? Which I think is kind of funny. But people think, if you're asking who's going to win, a landslide of our viewers are thinking the LA Dodgers will win, and game one is tonight. And let's be honest, after my summer working in minor league baseball, I'm following that pretty closely. But overall, Darren, I'm just tired of numbers because I don't like numbers. I'm a wordsmith. I've written 3 books, multiple bestseller, host a talk show. I don't do numbers. I'm tired of looking at numbers. So I'm ready for the weekend. How are you with numbers?
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but it's very easy for numbers to get convoluted and start to be distracting. You know, you need to find a way to make those numbers really simple. You did a good job of that, right? The viewers are, think that LA is going to win, period. That's what our numbers show. And our numbers also show that our viewers probably hate both teams and want them both to lose. So, keeping it simple is the most important part, because otherwise it'll look like the Matrix with ones and zeros and numbers, and you won't be able to make sense of any of it.
And here's me, the guy that preaches patience. I Asked the CFL people, the fans, to chime in because they didn't immediately. I said we're going to switch to the NFL, and here we are talking World Series, but now all the CFL people have showed up. So trust me, we're going to get to your questions and comments in a second. I just want to tell you this. I'm going for lunch this afternoon with my guy, Chris, from the Bronx, Chris Sanford. And he said that he would pay. And I said, no, you're not paying. This is not a bet in any way. We're going to PDQ Chicken because he buys all the time because he loses all the bets. And it's only because his teams suck. He bets on his teams and his teams suck. It's not that Chris doesn't know what he's doing. He just bets on his own team. Not smart if you cheer for the New York Giants. You know what I mean? So we're doing that. And then tomorrow, Ash, you know my friend Ash. You haven't met him, but you've talked to him on the phone. We're going for supper up in, I think, West Palm Beach area, somewhere, with a potential sponsor up there of this show, or maybe our Panthers show. I'm not sure. I'll find out when I get there. And I just picked up last night Doug McLean's book. It was the very last copy in the Barnes & Noble bookstore in Boca Raton, Florida. Doug McLean's book, Draft Day. This is the one misnomer, Darren, that I talked about last night on the South Florida Tribune podcast that I was on last night. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the perception in Canada of Florida is that they don't even know what hockey is, let alone cheer for their teams. That's what I thought when I showed up 4 years ago. And all of a sudden, Doug McLean's book, Darren, I had to call the Barnes & Noble and say, do you have the book Draft Day by Doug McLean? The girl, Camille was her name. She goes, there's one copy left. I'll put it at the front desk for you. Come and get it tonight. And I got it last night. I put a picture of it on my social media. What's your perception of Florida until I told you otherwise as a hockey market?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good, assumption of what Canadians feel, that there's just not a big hockey market, that there's not a lot of hockey rinks, that people aren't watching hockey until the last few years. I think the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, Tampa's been good. Florida wins the cup. I think we are now we kind of think of Florida like we do of Southern California. Oh, there's hockey fans there. We see it. Now they have good teams. But for years and years and years, we thought, there was 2 teams down there that people largely didn't care about.
And they do. You need to win. It's like the Dolphins fill the rink, the stadium every game. The Dolphins fill the stadium every game, win or lose, which has been mostly lose for a long time. It's just the opposite of Canada and hockey. Flames fill the rink. Leafs fill the rink. Oilers fill the rink. Canucks fill the rink. Right? You don't need to win to fill the rink in Canada. It's just like football here. So, by the way, on a Football Friday, here's another thing. We're going to get down and dirty. You're going to get the goods here. I say I don't like to talk about CFL expansion because I know it's never going to happen. And I don't want to spoil the surprise because I know a lot of people like to talk about it. But Cardinal Ryan in upstate New York writes in and he says, yes, the Atlantic schooners. Halifax is still waiting for that ship to come in. I'll see myself out. He puts in bracket. That's the thing. I just know too much. So with this second chance in life, I don't want to get too close to the Panthers. I don't want to get too close to the Dolphins. I don't want to get too close to the Marlins. I just want to cover it, talk about it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's behind the curtain. You know what I mean? I know what's behind the curtain with the CFL, and I'd rather just stay on this side of the curtain and watch the game. I don't want to talk about the business stuff. I don't want to talk about why are they playing the Elkamos tonight at the same time as the Oilers across town. I don't know. Let's just watch the game. Paul in Humboldt writes in, and he says, who is the best CFL quarterback without a Grey Cup ring? It's Kevin Glenn. Unless you think otherwise.
No, I think that's pretty cut and dry. Good question, but I would agree with you. I think it's Kevin Glenn. Yeah.
It reminds me of the movie City Slickers, which I think came out shortly after you were born. I saw it in the theater. Remember the guys from Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream? Remember when the guy tossed the thing? He goes, don't waste my time. Who's the best CFL quarterback without a Grey Cup? Of course, it's Kevin Glenn. Mark from Edmonton writes in. He says, sad that today is the last Friday night football, but excited for the playoffs. By the way, the reason fans aren't going to Elks games is mostly because the game experience is awful. Expensive slop food, no entertainment. I think if they were winning, you'd go. That's what I think. I don't think you would bitch about the in-stadium entertainment. I don't think you'd bitch about the concession items. If they were winning, Edmontonians would go. They started to win for that brief little period this summer, Darren. Remember when they started to draw?
Yeah.
Right? So that's all it would take.
Yeah.
Scott in Toronto writes in and says, your understanding and knowledge of the CFL behind the curtain is what we CFL fans want to know, Rod. That's why you're watching right now. I get that, but we also need to sort of play along. We all need to play along. Which, by the way, okay, did your mind just go somewhere, or did a bird just fly into the window in front of you? What were you just thinking? Because your expression changed, Darren.
That's exactly what happened. A ladybug flew right past my eyes and landed right on the window.
Okay, I knew it was something like that.
Good catch.
But similarly, listen, I notice everything. It's a blessing and a curse. I notice everything. And you know that because you're around me a lot. What do you think about this? Last night, Thursday Night Football, LA Rams, frankly, upset the Minnesota Vikings. They did, 30-20. The Vikings were favored by 3 going in. After the game, Sean McVay, the coach of the Rams, took the media to task. And Scott in Toronto, just hang on for a second. This kind of ties in a way. McVay took the media to task, and Darren, if you aren't familiar with the story, I'll fill you in. He basically said Puka Nacua, their star wideout, is not on the trading block. He goes, I don't know where that came from. It's not true. We want him to be part of our rebuild here. I don't know if you saw this, Darren. And he goes, the reports otherwise are irresponsible. We've talked to those parties about their reports. And the others, there's been no accountability on their part with their reports. It's not true. And I think that's why I'm ready for the weekend, too, to just get the hell away from all this. Because the race to be right versus the race to be first, I can tell you who's winning. It's not the side that to be right. You know, it's one thing to be opinion like the snowman saying the LA Rams are frauds. That's just entertaining. That's his opinion. That's not fact. You know, the misinformation out there causes a lot of damage to the Puka Nacua camp, to his family, to him. I mean, is it as easily solvable? I know I've been around teams longer and more than you, but is it as solvable with sitting a guy down in the chair and say, listen, no, you're going to read out there that you're on the trading block, but we want you to know you're not. I'm not sure that solves it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if it does, because when these reports come out, they come from somewhere, typically, and you'd like to hope that there's truth behind it. There's not always the case, but, you know, and then a team can tell a player one thing, don't read that. We're not looking at trading you, when they actually are. So you never know who to believe. And it comes down to, you know, this whole idea of like, you got to look out for you and you got to do what's best for you. It's the same thing when you're looking at social media. Unfortunately, and news reports, you can't trust everybody, but you need to know who you trust and make sure that you are comfortable with what you read and believing it. And you have to do the homework. We used to trust that the news media or that everything you read has been vetted and that they've done their homework. It's not always the case.
No, they don't. I go back to a guy that I don't know him, but I respect him. I follow him on social media, Toronto reporter, the guy that reported that Shohei Ohtani was on a plane from Anaheim to Toronto to sign with the Blue Jays last year. If he's not one of those guys where it's like, if you can't trust him, who do you trust? But still, it's the same idea. And by the way, Sean McVay was referring to Cooper Kupp. I apologize, not Puka Nacua. And David from Winnipeg writes in, David number 1. He says, Cooper Kupp is also not being shopped on the trading block. You lose Kupp, and then the focus is on Nacua. They're a dynamite wide receiver tandem. The point is that erroneous reporting can cause a lot of damage. And, yeah, Scott in Toronto writes in, he says, CFL fans are much more invested in this league because it's always been precarious versus the other leagues. We all want to see its long-term success and survival. We're not greedy. One more team. again, I don't mind going along with the narrative. I don't mind going along with the narrative of whatever that is. Just don't ask me to lie. Okay? And that's happened to me in the past by past employers, and I won't do it. I respect you too much to lie to you. Okay? That's all. So as far as the CFL goes, Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Let's all hold hands, Darren, and sing Kumbaya. Everything's great. The games are going to be awesome. Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, and he says, the most effective marketing program in sports is simple. Win. The food, the intermission entertainment, the DJ soundtrack, irrelevant. Win, and there will be butts in the seats.
Bingo!
That's a fact. Jack. It is. So I respect the guy, Mark, from Edmonton, who wrote in and goes, we're not going because the in-stadium sucks, the food sucks. It's not why you're not going, bro. Come on. I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. By the way, Paul in Humboldt says, is the greatest quarterback in the CFL to not win a Grey Cup Joe Theismann? No. And that's far, far before your time, Darren. It was the 1971 Grey Cup, and he didn't win it, and he went on to the NFL and won a Super Bowl with the Redskins. That doesn't count. I don't even count him really as a CFL quarterback. Kevin Glenn. Let's put it this way. Kevin Glenn should, and I hope one day will, go in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Joe Theismann won't. But then again, it all comes down to perspective, right? It's the fun debate. But I got to say it's Kevin Glenn. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Rod is right. It's Kevin Glenn. Thank you, Jeff, the Stamps fan. Darren, when we come back, right after the break, NFL Deal or No Deal, you're going to remind me, right?
I'll be ready. I'll remind you.
All right. And by the way, David Naylor has jammed. For lack of a better term, David Naylor has pulled the chute, as we used to say. So it's just me and Moose for all of hour two, or at least up until overtime. So we have lots to get to. We'll be back here on the Game Plus Television Network right after this. WQEE Radio, live streaming on YouTube, also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, everybody. Football Friday continues. Got to ask you, is your skincare starting rotation giving up big hits to wrinkles, age spots, and acne scars? Revitalize your self-care roster with Alaterra's all-natural lineup of nourishing products. Check them out at alaterra.com. Use code RP20 for 20% discount off your order. Let's bring the moose in, the guy who's got the beautiful complexion, the beautiful hair. And please, I said last hour with regards to Culligan, I'll say the same thing about Alaterra. Alaterra is a U.S. company that saw our Canadian audience and wants to market to you people. So can you please check them out at alaterra.com. Use the promo code RP Show if you like what you see and help us out by helping them out. Darren, a couple of text messages here for fun from Alaterra, 902-518-3033. Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in and he says, hey, Rod, any chance a bomb sound effect can be used when you read one of my comments? I'll even send a super chat to sweeten the deal. Absolutely not.
Oh, no.
Allie in Sherwood Park, Alberta writes in. She says, happy Friday. Have to chime in. We've been to some El Camos games, and concessions were less money than at Mosaic Stadium and way less than Oilers games. We've had fun at Mosaic and Commonwealth. It's what you make it. Have a great weekend. Signed, Allie from Sherwood Park, Alberta. So can I just say this before we get to NFL Deal or No Deal? When you go to a game, Darren, wherever you go, what's the thing that you always buy? I have one here in Amarant Bank Arena in Sunrise. If you need to think about it, I can tell you what mine is. But off the top of your head, what's yours? What's the one thing you got to buy?
Yeah, off the top of my head, like if I go to the game for a snack, it's typically popcorn. Probably would be my number one.
Popcorn's up there for me, but here at Amarant Bank Arena, it's chicken tenders and fries, the way they season them at the Panthers games, and just they give me, because I think the gal behind the counter is a little sweet on me, to be honest, a special barbecue and a honey mustard sauce. Is just everybody else has to buy them, but I don't tell him. Regarding Kevin Glenn to the CFL Hall of Fame, Jeff the Stamps fan says, what? Rod, you said a few years ago Kevin Glenn shouldn't go into the Hall of Fame. Did I? Show me proof that I said that. Secondly, you are allowed to change your mind in life. Darren, would you please put that on the 128th floor of my tombstone? You are in charge of what goes on that thing when I leave this crappy world. The 128th floor. You're allowed to change your mind. David, number 1 in Winnipeg, says, dang, no Nail. I love his takes on the CFL. Well, David Naylor bailed on us. Take it up with him. Okay. Are you ready to play NFL Deal or No Deal? Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, let's do it.
I know you were afraid to jump in while I was on a roll. I know it. Okay. Well, here we go. There's some whopping point spreads, Darren. For those that don't know, Darren and I play this every week for the National Football League games. This could take up the whole segment. Just to preview. We have some time, Darren, so you don't need to feel like you got to rush. Baltimore at Cleveland. Famous Jameis getting the start for the Browns. Baltimore favored by 8 going into the game. Deal or no deal?
I'll take the deal. I like Cleveland in this game a little bit. I thought the spread would be bigger, and I was ready to jump on Cleveland. But at 8, I'll take Baltimore.
They're really rolling, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's no deal from me. I think Jameis Winston's got a lot to prove, as do the Browns. I think they want to prove they don't need Deshaun Watson to be competitive. And for that reason, they'll beat the spread. I'm not saying they'll win the game. Indianapolis at Houston, a tantalizing AFC South division matchup. The Texans are favored by 5 at NRG Stadium. Deal or no deal?
Yeah, I'll take the deal there, too. Another game I thought the spread would be a little bit bigger, so I like that number at 5.
Me too, dog. Speaking of dogs, the Jacksonville Jaguars are home underdogs to the Green Bay Packers. Packers favored by 4 in Jacksonville. Deal or no deal?
That's another deal, too. I think the Green Bay Packers are a top 10 NFL team, and the Jaguars are a bottom 5 NFL team.
Yeah, Jags also probably still suffering from jet lag after back-to-back games in London. I'll take the deal. Your Tennessee Titans at Detroit. They should probably just save everybody a lot of time and effort and just stay home. Lions are favored by 12.5 at Ford Field. Deal or no deal?
That line is so big at 12.5. I'm going to say no deal just because the Titans defense is among the best in the NFL. They just can't score any points. And here's the note why I'm lucky I'm out here at this time, because the Titans have gone to Buffalo, short drive from where I live. They've now going to Detroit. And if I was home, how do you not go and watch your team play when they're so close to you? But luckily I've been on the road because I can't go watch this team this year. They're not good.
Otherwise, you would have. Well, the Lions are the best team in the NFC as far as I'm concerned. They'll cover. It's a deal for me, dog. Second biggest game of the week for me in terms of just interest sake is the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons are favored by 2.5 at Raymond James Stadium. Deal or no deal?
This is a great game. I'm going to take the deal. I know it's a road game, but I'll take the deal for Atlanta.
I'll take the deal, too, because the Buccaneers have lost their top 2 receivers. I think they're done. The door is open for the Falcons to win the NFC South, thanks to those injuries, I believe. Got only half a season left.
Yeah.
And 2/3. But you know what I'm saying. Huge one for the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. This is a big one. It's a bit of a toilet bowl, obviously, but the Jets are favored by 7, and they're saying if the Jets don't win this one, their season's down the toilet. They're favored by 7. Are you taking the deal or not?
I don't like that number. It's a big number. With Drake May getting another start, I think they'll be a little more competent, but they have to win, right? I'm going to take the deal, and I'm going on a bit of a limb.
Ooh.
It's a big number, but I'll take it.
I will, too. A lot of pressure on the Jets, and I think they'll win by 7 or more. Clearly, so does the Moose. Arizona Cardinals here at the Miami Dolphins, and I had to read some previews. I had to turn the radio on to get a take on this game and what people are thinking and saying. Dolphins favored by 4 in Tua's return. If you'll allow me to influence you a little, Darren, they've only averaged 10 points a game in the 4 games that Tua's missed offensively. They want to light it up. They want to light up the scoreboard with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and Devin Achane in the backfield. They want to light it up. So for that reason, I will take the deal. Dolphins favored by 4. How about you?
You know what? You've influenced me. I'm going to take the Dolphins. Good stuff. I mean, nobody is more excited going into this week than Tyreek Hill. I mean, he has been MIA since Tua's gotten hurt. So I think the Dolphins will roll.
Stop the presses. We're talking about concession food here. John in Edmonton says KFC at Rogers Place in Edmonton on the concourse. KFC anywhere is fantastic. Scott in Toronto writes in, he says, Kenny Rogers Roasters at BMO Field at the Argos games is mighty fine bird. It's the wood that makes it good. Is that the Kenny Rogers or just a guy named Kenny Rogers that has the same name? Is that the Kenny Rogers?
Good
As
question.
a chicken
I
restaurant?
don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I've heard of the restaurant.
Remember the Seinfeld episode when Kramer was raising chickens across the hallway from Jerry? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the chickens got fried by accident while they were still alive.
Yeah.
Colin in Ottawa writes in, he says, I can't resist hot dogs at games, and I've seen the video of how they're made. Disgusting, but the taste is so darn good. I've been somewhat cured off hot dogs. I'll eat them depending on the plate, but now I'm a little discerning when it comes to my tube steak. Back on point. Philadelphia Eagles at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals favored by 3. Deal or no deal?
Deal. Bengals are climbing. I mean, so are the Eagles, too. This is going to be a really good football game.
Bengals favored at home. No deal from me. I think the Eagles are going to win it outright. They're 4-2. Just my take. New Orleans Saints have lost 5 in a row. They go into L.A., and the Chargers are favored by 7. Deal or no deal?
It's a big number, too. I'll take the deal. Chargers are smarting a little bit after the Monday night loss to Arizona. I think the Chargers will respond.
It's a deal for me, too, dog. Utah Darren writes in, and he says, Kramer loved Kenny Rogers' roasters. Okay, that's what I thought. I hope people don't mind this meandering road drive all over the road here an hour or two, which is what I knew was going to happen. We're getting way off target here. John in Edmonton says, Popeye's chicken at the football stadium in Edmonton. That's all he says, just a sentence. Popeye's chicken at the football stadium in Edmonton. The Buffalo Bills at the Seattle Seahawks. Another very intriguing matchup. Because the Seahawks, did you know, have the number one, what I read here was correct, either number one offense or number one passing offense with Geno Smith. Home to the Bills, who are favored by 3. Deal or no deal?
I'll take the deal. Bills by 3. But, Geno Smith has really found a home in Seattle, really settled in, comfortable, fit, timing, all that stuff seems to be good. So Seahawks fans should be excited.
It's been a pretty intriguing NFL season, too. The Chicago Bears at Washington, the Bears are favored by 3. Deal or no deal?
Sneaky good game of the week. Like, this may be the game of the week. 2 of the best young quarterbacks in the game.
Jane Daniels not playing. Stop. Sorry.
No.
You've been traveling too much.
Right.
Unless you think Marcus Mariota is one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. I don't even think you would say that.
Good memory. Jaden Daniels went out last week. Mariota did come in and play well, and that's why Chicago's favored. I'm still going to go with Chicago coming off the bye week to win.
Me too. And cover the spread of 3. Kansas City at Las Vegas. The last time the Chiefs were in Vegas, they won the Super Bowl. Chiefs favored by 9.5 at the Raiders. Deal or no deal?
Whatever number you were going to say, I was going to take the Chiefs. So I'll take the deal.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of whopping point spreads, the Denver Broncos are favored by 10 at home to the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young starting for Carolina only because Andy Dalton was in a car accident on Tuesday. See, I'm over-prepared for the program today. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. I don't know. I'm over-prepared, if that's possible. Denver favored by 10. Deal or no deal?
I'm going to say no deal. I think Bryce Young will bring some energy back into that lineup. I'll go no deal.
I feel the exact same way. Now, Sunday night. So for me, no deal as well. Sunday night, Dallas Cowboys at San Fran. And down there in the Big D, this is the way we're looking at this. We're saying this is the Cowboys' season. If they go into San Fran and soil themselves, it's over. It's Vince Carter at the dunk contest. It's over. So I think the Cowboys will win. Forget about the spread of 4.5 for the 49ers favorite. I think the Cowboys will go in and win the game. But how about you?
49ers are dealing with their own stuff too. And I wrote on your website not that long ago, a few weeks ago, I think the 49ers missed the playoffs. Huge game for both teams. This is a great week of football. I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to say no deal. I'm going to take the Cowboys.
It is a great week of football. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I don't know what that orange sauce at Swiss Chalet is, but I could drink it right out of the cup. I've drank KFC gravy as a beverage. I feel like a lot of people have. Have you done that, Darren? Have you drank KFC right out of the
of course,
right
out of the little styrofoam cup?
Yeah, I think we all have. I think we all have. John in Edmonton says Aaron Rodgers may or may not play Sunday. He'll play. That's just Aaron Rodgers being a diva, the diva that he is. Monday night, the New York Giants at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is another one where they should just save the fuel on the plane and stay home. Steelers favored by 6. Deal or no deal?
Yeah, that's a deal for me, dog. I mean, I said on the program, was it Friday? I don't need to, or Monday when I hosted, I don't need to see the New York Jets in prime time anymore until they start winning some games. I don't need to see the New York Giants in prime time either.
That's NFL Deal or No Deal. Back in the flash on this Football Friday here on Game Plus TV. Key Radio 99.1 FM. Streaming live on YouTube and, of course, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
The RP Show is brought to you in part by Culligan. Drink clean, live green. Filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. Before we delve headfirst into the NHL breakaway bets for tonight, Moose is broadcasting football from there tonight. Moose, you want to run through that Canada West schedule this weekend, if you don't mind, and the ramifications since we're on Canadian television?
Yeah, one game tonight, Alberta, Regina, and really, winner will get in. Regina wins, they get in. Alberta wins, they get in if Saskatchewan beats Calgary tomorrow. So Calgary needs a win and some help tomorrow. And then for first place tomorrow, UBC Manitoba will battle, and that one's in Winnipeg. So that'll be fun tomorrow, UBC Manitoba. 3 games on the schedule.
Moose has the call tonight of a win and you're in scenario for the U of R Rams. The boys in the horns, as they say in the Queen City. Ken in Mississauga is watching, and he says, gravy as a beverage, giving new meaning to being in the sauce. I guess. But it's good. There's worse. Hey, I've drank worse to excess. Trust me. I'm really enjoying this NHL breakaway bets. I think our audience is too. I let you fly the coop yesterday a little too soon without doing the NHL breakaway bets. So Clark, in your absence, filled in, and we both had 4 right. I don't know if you heard me saying that earlier. We both had 4 of 9 right. That's pretty pathetic. So let's see what happens tonight, Moose. Are you ready to play NHL breakaway bets?
Yeah, do it. I'm ready.
The Ottawa Senators at the Vegas Golden Knights. Who you like it in that one?
I'm going to go with Ottawa, actually. I like what they've done in the beginning of the year.
That works well for me because I'm going to go with Vegas. The New York Islanders at the New Jersey Devils.
Give me the
Devils.
Devils
Just played last. Was it last night? You want the Devils?
Last night,
they lost in Detroit?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You got the Devils? It's been, yeah, God. Too soon to tell, man. They lost at home to Tampa. Then they went to Detroit and got thumped. Sheldon Keefe was blowing a gasket. I guess we're going to find out what they're made of tonight, Moose. I'm still going to take the Islanders. And I really mean it. Not just to go against you. My love for Patrick Roy, I cannot hide. Nashville at Chicago.
Oh, boy.
What are you thinking there?
I'll go Nashville.
Yeah.
I think Nashville's in a, they're going to go on a bit of a roll here.
You think they burst the bubble by beating Boston the other night 4-0?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you know me. I love my Canada. So I'll take Chicago. That's why I suck at betting, by the way. I have a tough time separating my heart from my brain. But at this advanced age, that's not going to change. Guess that's why I have a show. The Pittsburgh Penguins at the Edmonton Oilers. I will point out that John in Edmonton is writing in and says, Rod, Randy Gregg and Craig McTavish are getting inducted into the Oilers Hall of Fame tonight, post-game. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Sidney Crosby and the Penguins at the Oilers. What are you thinking, Moose?
Well, we said it on the show, right? Or was it Rich Sutter? Penguins need some goaltending. So I'm going to go Edmonton. Games in Edmonton. I'm going to go Edmonton.
I'm going to go Oilers, too. Look at that. There's only 4 games. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
just delving into the... We'll handle some viewer comments here, and then I'll let you go get on with your day. Coming back in overtime, I'll do a sports update and whatever viewer comments are left. Darren in Utah writes in and says, would the Canadian Football League consider taking a relegated NFL team to make up a 10th team, like the Giants, Jaguars, Panthers? Utah, Darren, get a life. Go have a nap. Go for a walk. We've already said they're not even looking for a 10th team, so now you're just making things up. I say that very affectionately because you're here every day and participating, but come on. That's not even realistic. They don't want to expand, okay? You know, the viewer said here earlier they come here because they want to look behind the curtain of the CFL. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to reveal the CFL secrets, and I can guarantee you they don't want me revealing their secrets. So I don't know, man. Do you want to make sense of it, Darren? Do you want to tell me where to go, or do you want to save that conversation for off the air? What road to go down with this?
I know it is difficult, but you just got to think about it logically before we even think
what's
about
best for me.
You know, first of all, adding another team, but if you're going to start doing relegation, which I think, you know, it's what they do everywhere, I think, overseas, right? Relegation, soccer, up and down. You need to be playing the same game, first of all, before you can even consider that.
Yeah.
We don't play the same game as the NFL.
It's so patently ridiculous, I don't even want to debate it. What I will say is, after this, I mentioned it earlier, I'll say it again. I'm going for lunch with my guy, Chris, from the Bronx. He might even be watching right now here. Darren, when you came here, it was April. That was like the tail end of what they call season, or the season in Florida. And you know what that means. All the tourists are here. The northern snowbirds have come down. And it's only October the 25th. It's not even Halloween yet. But it's going to take me an hour to go 8 miles. It might take me an hour to go 8 miles. Shoot, it took me half an hour to go 3 blocks the other day, depending on the time. Welcome to big city living. You know, you're in that place where we were so fortunate to be 5 minutes away from the stadium. I was telling somebody the other day, probably the greatest season of my life was the bubble season in the Western Hockey League. You and I called every single game in the bubble. I was picking you up at your place. Remember? We were 5 minutes from the hockey arena. It was the greatest. I don't want to travel. How are you? Are you enjoying traveling? It gets to be a pain, awesome. But I'm not sure you're there. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure you're there yet. I'm there. I don't think you're there
not
yet.
Quite. I'm not quite there yet on the track. I still love traveling. I do, and I love seeing different things. I'm more of a Four Seasons guy and seeing different places and all the rest. But I do enjoy this, like not having to sit in traffic. Like yesterday, I went to the Rams walkthrough, and I left about, I'm in, if you know where I am, South Albert. They're over in the university practicing. I left 9 minutes before walkthrough started. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit late. I'm going to walk in when the walkthrough is underway. And I got there. The players weren't even on the field yet. I was early by a couple minutes. It's so quick to get where you're going, and that's a breath of fresh air.
One more from John in Edmonton, who I've read a lot of his comments today, but to be honest, he's brought a lot of quality comments today, so I'm just putting that out there. John in Edmonton says the CFL is not looking to add a 10th team, but the Canadian Elite Basketball League is looking at adding more teams. Bro, I didn't say it was right that the CFL... I don't like that they don't want to add any. I don't like it at all. But that's the way that it is. And I like the Canadian Elite Basketball League and their approach a lot, and we are cousins on this television channel together, the CEBL. We're expansion cousins. They're in year 6. We're in year 6. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Arizona is so much easier. He's referring to getting around. I know exactly what he means. You want to... Oh, dude, Darren, we could really get into fun podcast stuff here. Here's the thing about Arizona. To go from the southeast tip, like Queens Creek, where I have friends there, to go all the way to Glendale, where the Cardinals play and the Coyotes used to, think of Phoenix as a circle, because that's what it is. You go from the southeast corner all the way around here, it's like 2 hours. And that's not bumper to bumper. That's going 90 mile an hour, okay? That's like driving to Saskatoon. If you want to just unwind that circle and go straight. So it's way bigger. Here it's not big. It's just congested. Not all the time. But the other night we were going to the Panthers game, and it was like a CSI episode. One whole side of the freeway, the other side of the freeway, coming the other way, was shut down. And they had tents up and the CSI people out. We learned later that a lady jumped out of the car as it was going down the freeway. She jumped out of the car and died. Yeah. And to be honest, Serena guessed it. I bet you somebody jumped out of their car and died, because she's no dummy, that gal of mine. She guessed it. And then she saw the news and she's like, "Dang, I was right." Some lady jumped out of a car and died. Can you imagine what led up to that? So anyways, yeah, you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Okay, Moose, have a great call tonight. Break a leg.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Oh, you too. Overtime is coming up next. We'll put a capper on all of it. We're live on the Game Plus TV network, WQEE Radio, streaming live on YouTube, and, of course, Apple Podcast and Spotify.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 1 launches November 1st.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
One more segment to go this week, and it's brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It's called Overtime. Hockey teams, are you looking for the perfect place to build your team, hold your team bonding sessions and outings? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes at 28th Street Northeast Calgary. They got state-of-the-art equipment, spacious shooting lanes, games for all ages of players. They're the perfect destination to build your team, whether you're from the Calgary area or you're dropping in on a road trip from out of town. Look them up on social media or, again, 28th Street Northeast Calgary. Stop in there and tell them the RP Show sent you. Appreciate those chiming in today, the Alaterra Skincare text line or on the YouTube feed. I appreciate you. Jeff, the Stamps fan, he writes in and says, go Stamps, go. It's not meaningless to me. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be watching that Riders Stamps game. I guess I'll, like everybody else, if it means something, I will. Scott in Toronto writes in and he says, Mike Morreale for CFL commissioner. The CFL has a commissioner. And Mike has a job. I see what you're trying to do there. I'm not biting. Let me get into this sports update here. And again, 902-518-3033. One last time to get your comments or questions read or answered for the week. Sports update, the Los Angeles Dodgers host the New York Yankees in Game 1 of the World Series tonight. It's the first time in 43 years that the two iconic franchises have met in baseball's Fall Classic. Pitching matchup tonight is Jack Flaherty for the Dodgers. Garrett Cole gets the start for the Yankees in Game 1. Our poll question today for EMJ Marketing is who you cheering for in the game, Yankees, Dodgers, or option C, can they both lose? That's leading the way. I'll be honest, I didn't realize so many people hated the Yankees, and for that matter, the Dodgers. It's kind of funny because after this show, I'm going to have lunch with my guy, Chris Sanford. We were going to go to a Marlins game when the Dodgers were in town here. We ended up not going. That, of course, was the week that Shohei Ohtani set the 50-50 record. I was watching the game on television, and the broadcaster of the Marlins on Valley Sports Florida said, I didn't know there were so many Dodgers fans in South Florida. In retrospect, I think he was saying it tongue-in-cheek because everybody's coming out of the woodwork. So they have their fans, too. The ratings are going to be boffo. It's a great matchup. Shohei versus Aaron Judge. Oh, yeah. Sign me up. The Toronto Raptors look to rebound from Wednesday's opening night loss to Cleveland when they host the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. Sixers star center Joel Embiid is nursing a knee injury and is expected to miss a second straight game tonight. Well, there's that. LA Rams head coach Sean McVay expects star receiver Cooper Kupp to stay with the team. McVay criticized recent media speculation about a potential trade involving the Super Bowl 56 MVP. Kupp returned from a 4-game injury layoff as the Rams defeated the Minnesota Vikings 30-20 last night on Thursday Night Football. Said the same thing about Puka Nacua, the other star wideout, that they are not available for trade. He admonished the reporters for saying that they are. And I'll be honest, I don't really remember what channel I was watching, but I think it was NFL Network. I clicked it on, and right across the bottom of the screen, just like those watching right now where it says be part of the show, text number, it said, Cooper Kupp on trade block. That's from the NFL Network. So maybe talk to them, Sean. Again, it's an accuracy issue in the reporting business these days, and I can tell you, not only is it not going to get better, it's probably going to get worse. The sports update's brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. It's Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football. All the Canadians I saw down here at Taylor Swift in Miami could have got your tickets through Seat Giant and saved the fees and paid Canadian dollars. Justin Timberlake's coming here too, so just putting it out there. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at SeatGiant.ca. Big thank you to Jim Barker today, to Dave Naylor. Thanks for nothing. Enjoy the games, everybody, and we'll see you back here Monday at noon Eastern on the old RP Show.
McFly, hello?